So let's say my credit card company has given me a card that allows me to buy everything I could ever possibly want. But because I'm fiscally responsible, I'm going to create a debt ceiling for myself. It's modeled on Congress.
And that is House Democratic lawmaker Katie Porter from California. The former law professor is delivering a simple yet brilliant explanation of the debt ceiling crisis and why the GOP effort to block it from being raised is so absurd. Porter starts by pointing out that the debt ceiling was set by Congress for itself, just as somebody with an unlimited credit card might set their own debt limit or ceiling.
So I don't want more than $1,000 of debt. I want to be fiscally responsible, no matter how much my credit card company is willing to loan me because of my stellar credit card history. So I go to the store, and I have a lot I need to buy for my family. I fill my cart to the top. I get to the front of the store, and I ring up $500. I look at the bill. I reach for my card. I worry because I know I've already spent probably $1,000 in the last few weeks because of an ER visit, braces for my daughter. Dr. Edelberg, will my credit card company respect my personal $1,000 debt ceiling, or will this transaction go through?
As the expert just said, the transaction will go through just as the U.S. debt can get higher and higher. If there is a war, a pandemic, or whatever, Congress can just add the cost to the national debt. Porter picks it up here with the notice of her total credit card debt amount.
My credit card bill arrives. It's more than my $1,000 debt ceiling. I call up my credit card company and I tell them I've exceeded my debt ceiling. I'm not going to pay back the $500 above my debt ceiling, even though I've already spent it, even though my kids have already eaten the food, worn the clothes. Dr. Edelberg, will my credit card company accept this, my personal debt ceiling, as an excuse for why I'm not paying my bills?
They will consider you in default.
So my lender expects to be repaid, no matter what I set as my debt ceiling. If I decide to stick with my debt ceiling and I do default, you said they'll consider me in default, what's going to happen to me?
They'll lower your credit limit, they'll raise your interest rate, they might even cancel the card.
In other words, a personal financial crisis if you go into default. It's the same with the debt ceiling. The United States has already spent the money. If we do not raise the debt ceiling and pay the interest or a portion of the total debt, the United States will default. That has never happened in U.S. history. And if it were to happen, markets would crash, interest rates would skyrocket, and the economy would go into a deep recession. Just like it would be nearly impossible for you to buy a car or get a loan if your credit score drops because you are in a credit card default, a national default would literally grind the U.S. economy to a halt. The United States has always been the one place around the world where people could count on the federal government honoring debts and interest payments on total debts. It's why so many countries around the world have bought U.S. debt, because they know it is secure and something they can count on. To put the U.S. in default would literally take the United States and the global economy into uncharted and frightening waters. So why are the Republicans doing this? Well, because they consider the U.S. economy their hostage and can leverage this hostage taking to try and squeeze government spending and cut programs like Social Security and Medicare. Never mind, of course, the Republicans during the Trump administration voted to raise the debt ceiling 3 times. They had to, because the Trump administration added $7.8 trillion to the debt, including $2.7 trillion via the tax cuts for the top 1%. There is hypocrisy, and then there is hypocrisy mixed in with total insanity. That's what the GOP is involved in now. And all of us will pay for it if America goes into default. By the way, 2 of the more outspoken House Republicans are engaged in another battle to prove who is the dumbest member of Congress. Check out the latest on Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.